Greetings everyone. Welcome to today's video. Now today I want to share a very powerful prayer, and that is by the great late Napoleon Hill. Now some of you might know Napoleon Hill, some of you might not. Well, Napoleon Hill was basically one of the greatest teachers of all times. He was born in 1883 and he died in 1970, unfortunately. And he has left a legacy that is living on, has been living on for some years now, and is still living on and will live on for many years to come. Now, Napoleon Hill, he is an author among many other things. This prayer that I'm about to share with you, this very powerful prayer, it's more like a motivational prayer. It's not like the average everyday prayer that we're used to. Now, this prayer I learned about 6 years ago, and ever since I've learned it, it has been guiding me for all these years. And I love it. I'm so motivated by it. I hope when I share this prayer with you, it will somehow change your mindset, as based on what this prayer is teaching here. Okay, so let's go right into the prayer. So it goes like this. O divine providence, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom in which to make wiser use of the riches you gave me at birth, consisting in the power to control and to direct my mind to whatever ends I might desire. Now, this prayer is not a normal prayer. This prayer is pretty much self-explanatory. Basically, what this prayer is saying, it is simply saying, teach me, O Lord, to use the talents that you gave me at birth. We were all born with talents and, abilities. So the prayer is basically saying, just teach me and how to use my own mind to achieve whatever I want, to whatever lengths I want. Because let's remember now, mind is a very powerful thing. So instead of just praying and say, oh, yeah, Heavenly Father, please bless me, to win the lotto, so I might buy this dream house or the fancy car that I've always wanted. No, you don't want to pray a prayer like that. You want to pray to ask God to show you, to teach you how you may use your own mind to develop the skills and the talents and the knowledge to achieve whatever you want. So instead of asking him to just bless you like this, you winning the lottery, you're basically doing nothing for it. How about praying and asking him for him to teach you how you may achieve the same dream house and that same fancy car that you've always wanted, by using your talents and your gifts and your skills that we were all blessed with at birth. Imagine that. Remember now, everything that we see around us is a product of someone's thought. It only goes to show that we can achieve greatness, we can achieve amazing things by just using our imagination or just using our thoughts. Our minds are like magnets. Our minds can be stretched to very far places. Our imaginations can go to very far places. Why not use our talents and our mind to achieve everything we want? So we should pray prayers that are asking God to teach us how we may achieve all of what we want, instead of asking for the easier way out by just getting the blessing on a silver platter like this. Ask God to teach you. We need to ask God to teach us how. We need to pray and ask God to teach us how we may achieve everything that we want. You see, the mind is so powerful. If it's one thing in our lives that no one can take from us, if it's just one thing that no one can ever take away from us, think about it for a second. It is our minds, the control of our minds. No one can control it for us. No one can take it away from us. It is the one thing that we have full control over, and it's the one thing that is really, really powerful. So if there's anything else we own in our lives, it is our mind and the ability to do whatever we want with it. No one can take that away from us. I'm going to share an experience with you, and this is just to show you how powerful the mind is and how we can set it in the direction that we want it to go. So about 3 nights ago, I was in bed, about to go to sleep. And, when you go to bed, you have all these thoughts, and this is when, you think of all these things. So if we train our minds and have like a nighttime rituals, we won't necessarily have our minds wandering all over the place, because you would have had your system in place and you would know your ritual, and you would go off of that. So anyways, so I was in bed and I was, just laying down, and I try my best to meditate a little bit before I go to bed. I don't have it all locked and polished yet, but I'm still working on it. But I try to meditate before I go to bed. I try to reflect. I think on the things that I'm grateful for. I think on, how my day was and what my day is going to be. So it's pretty much like that in a nutshell. However, I was laying in bed and, I had a thought about a family member that has passed on. And I found myself thinking a little bit too deep about the person. And right away, I started to feel off. My vibration was off. I started to feel a little bit depressed. I started to feel, a certain kind of way. And I knew right away that something wasn't right, because I'm very aware. I'm so connected to myself. I've trained myself. You can do the same. If you train yourself long enough, you can become so attached to your body and your mind that whenever something is off, you know right away. So anyways, I was in bed and this is what happened. I was starting to have all these ill feelings, and I noticed that no, something isn't right. And I think back and I think, okay, it's because I'm thinking about someone who has passed on. It's okay for us to think and reflect and remember our friends or loved ones who have passed on. However, I don't think going to bed was the right time for me to be thinking about this person who has passed on. And that's why it kind of made me feel a certain way. And then normally when you go to bed with a certain mindset, it takes you over into the next day. I'm going to do a topic on that another time, on how you can program your mind before you go to bed, so it just flows into the next day, and it pretty much will determine how the next day will go. So anyways, I caught up with myself because I'm very aware, and I deliberately changed. At one point in my life, I wasn't able to do this. I used to feel like, okay, whatever comes in my mind or whatever thoughts I have, I just had to accept them, and they would just play out in my head. And most times they were not so nice and pleasant. Thank God things have changed, and I've learned how to take control of my own mind. So I just changed the direction of my mind, and I started to reflect on what I normally was supposed to be thinking about, which are, the things that I'm grateful for, and, how my day would go for the next day and all of that. So in that split second, I avoided all the suffering and all the pain and all the depressing feelings that I would normally have for years and years ago, because I wasn't able to control my own mind. And in that moment, I just changed it. I just switched it off and started thinking on more positive things and, things that I was grateful for. And I just started to reflect, and I was smiling. And then shortly after, I fell asleep and I slept good. Once upon a time, I would be in that place for the whole night. I would be scared. I would, probably be terrified, and I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. And, I don't even want to go into it. It would be such a disaster, and it would have just ruined my whole night and my whole sleep. So I'm just saying all of that just to explain that the mind is very powerful. So it only goes to show that we can use the power of our minds, based on what Napoleon Hill is saying here, to attract whatever we want. We can have all the great things in the world, all the amazing things in the world. And it starts with the mind. And all we need to do is to just take charge of our minds. Just have the control over what we think about and whatever we think about. Think about it for a second though. Why wouldn't we want to use our minds to attract? I mean, we can have unlimited imaginations and thoughts. Why shouldn't we use that ability and that power to attract all the amazing things? To use that power to bring out all the greatness that's within us. Now, this is the riches he's talking about here that we were given at birth. We are richer than we imagine. We are richer than we know. It's all up here. And we all have the ability to attract whatever we want and achieve great things. So we shouldn't just ask for things to be handed down in the simplest way, but instead use the power of our minds to achieve the things that we want, anything we want. See, that's the beautiful part of it. It could be unlimited. Whatever we want, we can achieve. There's also a very famous quote, also by the late Napoleon Hill, and it goes like this: whatever the mind of man can conceive, it can achieve. It couldn't be any simpler than that. I had to mention it in this prayer here. I had to intertwine it because whatever we think about, whatever we imagine, we can achieve it. All we need to do is to ask God to teach us how we may go about achieving whatever we imagine. That's all the prayer is saying, in the most simply way put. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will share this video. I hope you will like, you may comment, you may interact. I mean, if anybody out there who watches this video knows this prayer and wants to comment, and give your 2 cents on it, you're welcome. And, so that was it for this video. And as I always close by saying, keep smiling, show love, and be kind. Until next time, bye.